All right, everyone. So last video we had covered the mass email section. This is a very important concept covered, I could say, in this video. We would be talking entirely on the security aspect of Salesforce. Being said that, let me give you a brief idea on what we are going to cover in today's video. This is going to be a little long video than the other videos. However, please bear with me. It's very important from interview perspective as well as managing the organization's perspective. Now, as you see my computer screen, so what I've done is I've kind of charted things out, trying to make it quite simple for you. Now the outermost layer that you see, the outermost layer, I've given this as the organization level security. Now organization level security is once you hit in login.salesforce.com or the URL that you need to access Salesforce. So that's when this layer or this security would actually be hit. Now we have three important options available that justify or that should pass for you to go ahead and enter Salesforce at least. Now coming to trusted IP range, so that is the IP range that is specified by the administrator. You could find this IP range in administer security controls network access. Now under network access, here is what you define the IP address range. Every company does have a static kind of an IP rather than having a dynamic kind of an IP. So for those companies who are willing to stay very much secure, that the users are not allowed to connect to Salesforce once they are outside the office network, it is very much important for them to use this trusted IP range. All you've got to do is you've got to go ahead and click on new, enter the start IP range, say 0.0.0.0 or whatever IP range that your company has got. Enter the end IP range. This information, the start IP address and the end IP address, as a system admin you could possibly collect it from the network infrastructure or the network architects available in your organization. Provide a description very clearly that this is just for people to log into Salesforce. So once user hits in login.salesforce.com, if there is no address specified, so it would mean that anyone could access that with the valid credentials and the token that's available that gets generated every time they log in from a different public machine. Now the next thing that we have after that is the login IP. Now you have to understand this login IP and login hours both come from the profile level. This trusted IP range allows you to enter or access Salesforce, whereas the login IP is what that defines from your profile that whether you can see something on the screen after login or not. So a possible scenario could be users able to log in, however he's not able to see anything, it just logs him off. So it could be because of the profile. So let me quickly go ahead and show you where you could find that under profile. Now there are multiple settings that could be performed on profiles. However, to pick up right now, I'm going to just show you about the login IP and login hours as of now. So as I told you from my previous videos, you could actually enable this setting that's available in the user management settings, or you could use the traditional way and to keep scrolling down to find it. Since I have that enabled, I'm going to quickly click on login IP ranges. Now when I click on this, you could select this IP range, the start IP range, the end IP address, and you could give a description. Usually what happens is when you are using integration with other systems, you would like to use a particular email address which has a particular profile assigned to it, which would be working only on a specific IP address, because that is integration, and you might be handling some important data that would be flowing from one system to the other system. So in that scenarios, you could use the IP ranges available. Being said that, tomorrow, if you come across a scenario, possibly in an interview, where you are informed that we have a user who is not able to log in and view the details inside Salesforce. So this is one more area as an administrator that you might want to go ahead and have a check on. Now let's move on to the next concept as told. So that is nothing but your login hours. Now login hours is something which is not being used very widely. It has its own limitations. So what does login hours do is login hours would go ahead and specify the different time, start time and end time that you would wish your users to go ahead and log in. Now you might want some users to go ahead and work over the weekend. They might have some specific task, however you do not want them to extend their work beyond a particular time. Say suppose you have a data patch activity that's coming up at 1 p.m. So you want to go ahead and allow them to complete their work in 3 hours. So you pick up a specific profile, you search for the login hours, you come down and you specify that they work only from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. So what happens is, now you could run up in a scenario where that particular user is trying to work on a specific record. Now he might be just in time of his end time, and he might have not clicked on save. Now what happens is, if the time has passed before the user has completed his activity, he could view that particular page while he was working before his end time. He could still view it unless he performs some action. Action would be something related to a save action, that's a click of a button, or a refresh activity that happens on a screen. Now once that is done, so user, whatever record that he's created would not be saved, and he'll have to redo his work. So that is a limitation for login hours. So this might get your users a bit furious. Now being said that, there is one more limitation available, and the other limitation would be, you would actually have to go ahead and set these time or convert these time based on the locations manually. Now suppose you have 5 profiles available, say Sales America, Sales India, Sales Japan, Sales Australia, Sales Singapore. Now you'll have to go ahead and set their login hours, that is the start time and end time, manually on this profile, on their profile individually, by converting it manually. Now that is a little bit of a pain, so that is one tedious task, I could say. But apart from that, looking at the security perspective, once your organization's security is not compromised, you are still allowing only the legitimate users to pass in. Furthermore to come, we are going to touch on the object level security, then we're going to move on to the further concepts. Thank you, and stay tuned. Thanks.